Hey everyone, in this video we're going to be talking about the telephone. It's Peopleware Chapter 11. And the good news is, if any chapter of this book has become slightly outdated, it would be this one. I've only had one desk phone in my career so far, and it only rang once. And that was a very confusing experience, to be sure. I was like, hey, is someone on fire? Or like, what the heck is happening? Like, why is this, what is this device and why is it buzzing at me? But but anyways, we're still going through this chapter, and if the experience of a ringing desk phone isn't directly relatable to you and your coworkers in the modern era, substituted for other distractions like messenger notifications or coworkers coming over to your desk to ask questions, and those will be largely, I would say, but not entirely analogous. But fine for your own mental context as we're going through this. The authors and I invite you to imagine a world where phones or instant messaging don't exist yet. Imagine that you have to schedule time with people on sticky notes or some other calendaring system that forces you to plan more. Imagine further that a salesman inventor comes in and regales you with the power of his new device, the telephone. It can connect you by voice to someone across the room or across the world. You just pick up the receiver, talk into it, listen to the earpiece, and it's like your counterparty is speaking to you face to face. What a new era of communication. But in this alternate reality, all the decision makers get together and decide that such a device is too disruptive, and they send the salesman away empty-handed, but for his telephonic device. That isn't our reality, however. Telephones are here, and perhaps the authors would be gratified to see that their presence is somewhat diminished in the modern workforce. Though desk phones have been replaced with personal cell phones that could still pose quite a threat to individuals' productivity via texts and a multitude of other notifications. It seems the problematic nature of desk phones, though, is not merely their ability to interrupt us, but in being distracting and unavoidable because of the ringing. At least with cell phones, we can put them down, put them in airplane mode, hide them away in a bag or desk or whatever you have, or in some way distance ourselves from that buzz if we choose. Another way that this chapter is fortunately outdated is the manner in which the people of our industry treat phone calls. While at the time of writing, the authors noted that ignoring calls was generally not acceptable in the industry, we have, at least in my experience in the workforce, found that it is acceptable to respond to Slack notifications or whatever alternate equivalent for phone calls at a time more realistic, and giving priority to the project that you're working on at hand versus that Slack message or versus that text or phone call. So as a result, and fortunately for the authors, their suggestion for an improved telephone ethic, as they call it, improved telephone ethic, seems to have already been implemented kind of organically to a large extent. In particular, they suggest that people shift away from phone in favor of email in cases where matters aren't urgent so that the worker can respond at a natural breaking point in his work. And that sounds, something like I just mentioned a second ago, right? So the authors wrap up and summarize the chapter with a suggestion that telephones are bad and emails are good, though even that will have a caveat later in the book. At an organizational level, they suggest that people who are involved in knowledge work as their occupation, such as engineers and designers, need to be given uninterrupted work time. On the other hand, relational roles such as sales, customer support, marketing, and the like are more suited to frequent interruptions by the nature of the jobs. It's important to be aware of this when setting cultural norms for the team. That's all for Chapter 11 and the telephone. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all in the next one.